Good morning again. It's a Monday morning, not Sunday morning. We were unable to record the service on Sunday, and I'm going to give it another try. So, welcome. I'm glad you're watching along with me. And I hope that what we discuss about love will find meaning for you, or you will find meaning for it. We are in the month of February, and the month of February, of course, matches up very nicely with Valentine's Day as the theme of love seems to go together. And when I set the theme, I put together an affirmation, which I want to give to you just as a start. Affirmation for love in this month of February is love, the very essence of our being, surrounds us, supports us, flows through us, and becomes us. And the title for the message is The Pure Essence of Being. Let me jump right in. The most eminent scientist of the 20th century was without doubt Albert Einstein. And of course we know his theory of relativity. It's taught to us very early. But there are a lot of things about Albert Einstein that are curious, because while they are very scientific and come from this very scientific mind, the spiritual meaning behind them is there as well. He, near the end of his life, wrote a letter to his daughter, Lisa. And this letter was, again, a little bit different, and it's, over time, acquired the name of Universal Force, the letter of universal force. When he wrote this letter to her, he instructed her not to share it with the world for some time. He suggested it might be decades, and it was 2 decades until this letter came to light. And then the scholars took a look at it and they questioned, did Einstein even write this letter? Similar to what we do when we look at a sacred scripture, whoever name seems to go with it. Say, for example, in the Christian scriptures, the Gospels have the name of the disciples, Matthew, for example. But we know through the science of biblical criticism that Matthew didn't actually write that book. And yet we find the truth in that for us. And so even in this letter, whether it was actually written by Einstein or not, we look for the truth that underlies that. And there is a truth about love, which Einstein calls in this letter, if it is Einstein, but Einstein will say, and I want to share it with you. I really like this. Here it is. I'm just going to give you one short paragraph. There's an extremely powerful force that so far science has not found a formal explanation to. It is a force that includes and governs all others and is even behind any phenomenon operating in the universe and has not yet been identified by us. And then this cogent sentence at the end. This universal force is love. And the letter writes love in capital letters. So, from this scientific perspective, we find that there's an energy or a force behind all the expressions of love, and there are a lot of expressions of love in the world, that's the basis of it all. And we want to look at that today. We want to look at the basis of love, the pure essence of being. Now, I share truth as I know it. So when I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing what my understanding is of truth, what really resonates with my being. So hang with me there, and you may differ with me at some point, but I would like you to listen for the truth of what I have to say. We're not looking to define love. It's a really hard thing. On Saturday Soul Boost, we worked at that to try to define love, and found out we didn't do a very good job. It was a little tough to do, but we came to the sense that just an understanding of love is what we're looking for. So it's not so much a definition, but an understanding of love. Now, this isn't a group of Greek words that are translated love, as there are in the Christian scriptures, 5 different words. It isn't a different language of love. And there are 5 languages in a book written, the languages of love. And it isn't even the difference between divine love on one hand and human love on the other. So let me give you what Charles Fillmore, Unity's founder, had to say about this. He gives a metaphysical definition, as it is, and I like it. And here it is: the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family, the power that joins and binds in divine harmony, and the universe and everything in it, the great harmonizing principle known to man. So we're looking at love in its broadest sense, its deepest sense, its most fundamental sense. And it may not look like the love that you've often considered. It may not look like one of the expressions of love at first, but we'll see how it is a foundation for all of those expressions of love. I put together a key spiritual truth that goes with this sense of love being the pure essence of being, or the universal force that encompasses everything. Here it is. I know love, the unlimited divine energy that attracts, harmonizes, and unifies. Let me say it once more. I know love, the unlimited divine energy that attracts, harmonizes, and unifies. I took those 3 things: attraction, harmony, and unity, and look at them each a little bit. Let's start with attraction. We know that love has as one of its features attraction. When you meet someone and there's just some great sense of connection, you have a great attraction toward that person. You may even fall in love with that person, as you would say. Love attracts, and there's also the love of friends. On Saturday, I sat together with some of my friends, the ones I play golf with, and there were 5 of us at the table. We're celebrating the birthday of one of us, 87 years old. Much better golfer than I am anyway. And at the end of that meeting together after the meal, he said this: you know, you really are my best friends. And of course it felt good, but there is an attraction among this group of friends. We are drawn toward one another. It's true in family as well. Families are drawn together. Sometimes they're drawn together in difficult times, sometimes in celebratory times. I had the experience last weekend, when I was not here in Payson, of being in Chicago with my family for a funeral. And my daughters in particular were mourning the loss of their mother. Whew. I tell you, I was a little bit fearful and doubtful and didn't know how it was going to go. But in that time, our family just drew together. It was a wonderful experience. And there's that attraction that's there that we can see very readily, and that facet of love. There's also compassion. As you know, the Dalai Lama speaks often of compassion. That ability to look outside of yourself and to look on someone and be drawn to their situation, wanting to do something to alleviate that situation if it's a huge challenge, wanting to stand alongside, wanting to help. There's that drawing. You get the idea? Love is attraction. It's interesting. When I was researching this, I looked at the writings of Charles Fillmore, of course, and in his book on the 12 powers, love being one of the 12 powers, he compared love to gravity. That drawing power. We are drawn to earth by gravity. Here's what he said. Gravity is mortal man's name for love. By the invisible arms of love, we are held tight to earth's prolific bosom. So you get the idea, not in a particular expression of love, but underlying is the truth that we are drawn to each other, drawn to this earth. There's a drawing power in that universal force of love. Yes, love is attraction. Love also harmonizes. We live in a world of disharmony. Sometimes we refer to it as chaos, and it's sometimes very challenging to try to deal with that chaos and how to make sense out of things in that chaos. But love harmonizes. Love is in perfect accord with goodness. Now, if you've listened to me before, you've also often heard me say that everything works together for good. My true deep belief that all things are good. We're not looking at a suffering world. We're not looking at a bad world. We're not looking at any situation with eyes other than behind all of that, when we can see the big picture, goodness prevails. So that's what harmony is talking about. That ability to be in accord with the great goodness that is. That works itself out in terms of harmony within our own mind. There are certainly times when my mind is going 15 different directions, and it is chaotic. And as students of truth, and as people on a spiritual path, we quiet our mind. We seek to quiet our mind, to bring it together, to center it, to take all of the disparate things that would draw us one way or another and just put them aside for a minute and harmonize our own mind. It's a very powerful thing. If that's not part of your meditation practice, I recommend giving your attention to it, to draw together your thoughts, to center yourself, to be in the very present moment. And often that means turning away from looking at the past and not getting involved in what might or might not happen in the future. We can turn to Buddhist practice to learn a little something. And as I was researching, one of the publishers of Buddhist materials here in the U.S. had 4 things that are true about harmony and about love. I just want to share them. They're so direct, so simple, that it's helpful to see it in that light. This publisher said, number 1, seek harmony, not confrontation. Number 2, embrace differences, don't impose sameness. We could talk about all of these much more, but just take them in. Number 3, Recognize that there is a middle way that has respect for everyone. So often we're at an extreme here or an extreme on the other side of things, not knowing that that middle way is something that will bring harmony to our world. Oh, maybe we know it, but we're stuck out in the extremities. It's a place where you are in Spirit's presence. Again, it's in the present moment. And then number 4, and this should be almost natural, but doesn't seem so always in our world. Seek peaceful coexistence, not war and killing. I like those 4 cogent statements about love, about harmony. Are you familiar with rose quartz? It's a pink stone. I don't know if you know much about crystals. I don't know a whole lot, but I've known a little bit about rose quartz. When we were on Easy Street in a different location a few years ago, Betty and Hummingbird, I think, took little pieces of rose quartz and just put them all over the place. It has so many wonderful properties that enhance our spiritual quest. First of all, it does what we talked about. It quiets the mind. Quiets the mind and opens the heart. It's good for its support of physical healing. That energy from the stone even is supportive of the wholeness that we know we are. It's supportive of emotional well-being too. And that includes treating ourselves with kindness and compassion. So, again, we live in this energy. It's connected with this whole energy, this universal force that we're talking about. And rose quartz is called the love crystal, the love stone. It assists in our connection with divine love and with our higher selves. Yes, love and the energy of love harmonizes. And then there's unity. Love unifies. The Declaration of Independence for our Constitution says all men are created equal. Well, we're in a different culture, in a different time. All men and women, all people are created equal. No matter what we are, what our race may be, what our culture may be, what our politics may be, what our physical or mental abilities may be, we are all created equal. I love that sense of equality. You may have been maybe familiar with a little acronym DEI, diversity. Diversity, equality is right in the middle there, and inclusion. And I think those are values that I hold highly and I think are important to us understanding love in our world. Diversity. It's African American. It's Black History Month, this month of February, to go along with the love. And one of the figures that's important in Black history in the U.S. is Frederick Douglass. And as I have read about him, I've become more and more intrigued. He was born a slave. And his father was white, probably the slave master, although that's not known for certain. And his mother was black, also a slave. And even as a young boy, he longed for freedom At that point, there were some freed men and freed women, and he longed for that. And eventually did begin to move toward, how can I be free? He also had just a great curiosity for learning, and he was able to learn to read, and was sometimes denied material to read, but found some way to learn, particularly from the Bible. And so Frederick Douglass eventually did become free. First of all, he escaped slavery. He was still considered to be a slave because he had not been purchased by anyone to be free. And so for many years, he took the cause of abolition in his to his heart, and then began to speak about it. Became a great orator, moving many people, both in the U.S. and in the UK. Well, Frederick Douglass spoke not only about those things that he thought were wrong, but he spoke in this way. It's kind of curious as you look at it. He said things like, and I'm quoting, "I would unite with anyone to do right, and with nobody to do wrong." He loved that sense of unity, and he reached across the racial divide to try to establish that unity. He got a lot of flack from some people who advocated abolition because he did reach a hand across to try to find some unity. Well, eventually he became free, and not only did he advocate for the cause of abolition, which eventually happened in his lifetime, but he advocated for women's suffrage as well. And in each of these, he dialogued with people that differed from him in terms of their view, radically different from him in terms of their view. And it was that dialogue that allowed progress to be made, abolition to be declared, slavery illegal, and eventually the right to vote in the women's suffrage movement. But get this, he was strongly advocating the freedom for all people, the freedom to vote for women. At the same time, he was seeking unity. And I think that's a lesson for us. I took a lot of interest in doing that. We do that a little bit at Unity of Payson. If you've been around us, you know that there's a little movement we've gotten going called Kindness Works for All. And our reasoning behind this, we work with people outside of Unity of Payson. We look to reach across any divide that may be there, and to say that kindness is something that can bring us into a certain unity. Kindness works for all. Yes, love does truly unify. Now we get to the question of, how do I do all of this? How is this deep, fundamental understanding of love make a difference in our life? Put me in a place where I can take that attraction and use it to the advantage of everyone. How I can find that harmony, how I can find that unity. Well, I want to suggest some, hopefully very practical kind of things. Things that you can remember easily. With regard to attraction, simply this: draw close to friends, to family, to community. One of the ways we do that at Unity of Payson is in our morning coffee, which happens on Wednesday and Saturday mornings at 9:30. It's on Zoom. Of course, I'm speaking to all of you who are looking at this online, so you're familiar with that. But on Zoom, we come together in community. We draw together, and from that we are enriched, we are elevated, we are moved forward, we are supported. Draw close to friends and family and community. One of the ways that we can move forward in harmony is to come together on something like, and this is a very particular thing, our vision, our spiritual vision. Well, it just happens that today, I'm speaking earlier in the morning on Monday, but today in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, we begin a study of life visioning based on a book by Michael Beckwith. And it's a time when we'll come together and we'll bring to life some common vision in addition to each of our own particular and unique visions. So if you would be in harmony, find that situation where you can come together and people are looking for a common vision. Again, I reference the kindness movement, and there are many others, but come together intentionally to seek harmony. And then finally, unity. Well, we had a little expression of unity yesterday in person. We had a potluck afterwards. And we've taken to having a potluck with our hosts, the Payson United Methodist Church. We have quite some differences in terms of how we pursue our spirituality, but we come together in unity to sit and be with one another in a potluck. You may have some comparable situation. Where can you sit together with someone in quest of unity? Where can you reach across some divide? Oh, you may have to be quiet about some subjects. You may have to say everything that comes to your mind. You may have to be quiet about some of the things you're thinking about, because the goal is unity. That fundamental aspect of love. So, love. Let me go back to that key spiritual truth. I know love, the unlimited divine energy that attracts, harmonizes, and unifies. This is the truth, and so it is.